Yo, what's up, eggs? Bro, I'm chilling, man. Like, trying to stay awake right now. Playing some Warframe. I'm lurking while the wife and I play Fork knife, bro? Fork knife? You gotta get that fork knife, bro. I appreciate you coming by that, man. This is like one of those old school maps, man. This map reminds me of when I was just a wee lad. Finding my way in the world of Warframe. I guess we're gonna have to go out with Cam. Not do Cam today. I didn't fully charge my camera before streaming because the charging cable I have is being kind of dumb. I was working on building the Kuva Zarr today, and it is, now that I've gotten to the point where I have like a pretty good understanding of how to build stuff. I was looking at that weapon today. I'm like, this is one of the weirdest weapons possible. The weapon has two different firing modes and two different damage types because the two different firing modes have two different ways of fire. And I'm like sitting here reading this thing, I'm like, this thing doesn't make any sense. Finally figure out sort of like a build for it using the Acuity mod and one without the Acuity mod, and then I also bought a ribbon for it, but I haven't rolled it yet. Here, I'll after we get the blueprint here, hopefully within this round, I'll run into the simulacrum. But I've tried, dude, I spent hours and hours and hours, and it seems like Acuity isn't a bad option for it, but it looks like you're gonna have to use the barrage mode, which is like a shotgun, which actually isn't a bad shotgun. This thing slaps. But you're gonna have to use that in combination. The nerf that they did to the Zarr, you didn't realize how bad it was because it literally does not function like how it did when it originally came out. Like the Zarr, you could just spam it back and forth, but it looks like they've made it so you have to like alternate back and forth between the two modes if you want to continue to use it. Dude, I gotta sleep. But thanks anyways. I'm gonna just buy the blueprint, I guess. Not a problem, man. It's always a pleasure to help out a returning player. You have me added, so if you ever have any questions or whatever, you got the guy to ask, Chief. Alright, so the way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna get rid of my pet, so it doesn't skew the actual performance of the weapon, because that's cheating. What we have here are three versions that I came up with that go from varying difficulty of assembly. The mods are harder to get, so on and so forth. I do not like using faction mods at all, but because the mod support for this weapon is so limited, I had to use a Bane mod. Banes or just anything for extra damage. So I currently have this Bane of Oregon for the time being. Galvanized Chamber for anything that's not obviously Acuity is going to be a must, because you need multi-shot for this weapon to help get it along. This is an unfortunate must-have because obviously the weapon magazine is very limited, so having just a little bit of buffer before you run out can help perpetuate what I'm about to show you, because you don't want to run out of ammo, and I kind of figured out a way around that. So this is part of that, having just a little bit more ammo. Prime rounds, it's just cold. My status is toxin, so cold, viral. Hammer shot, it's just straight up critical damage status chance. Semi-rifle candidate. I didn't know this existed until I started looking around through my mods, and apparently there is a form of serration for cannons, and that is that. And it provides a little to punch through. Hard cube munitions is a must to help finish off enemies if your rockets didn't. And then lastly, critical delay for the critical chance. Now it does give you negative 25% fire rate, but because I use a Panzer Volpofila, that doesn't matter. So the way this works, obviously the nerf made it so you can't really spam the Zarr anymore. Primary crux is what I use to kind of get around that. Now there will be moments of downtime with this specific build, but so long as you're hitting weak points, you will have ammo efficiency, words are hard right now, stacks up 10 times, and then we have prime rifle ammo mutation to keep the ammo going, and that actually can get you pretty far. So here is a little test of it. Now we're going to be using heavy gooners. That combination actually works pretty well to keep your ammo without completely running out, and you don't have to sacrifice anything on a Warframe. So there are two modes, the Zarr, as you know. We got the cannon, which is what everybody knows it for, and the barrage. This specific build isn't going to hit super hard, but this is like one of my preliminary test builds. So just build up your stacks and then reload. And as long as you're hitting the head, you can spam this. Now, of course, that involves you hitting the head, but as you can see, I got off a pretty. Yes, the heavy gooners. As you can see there, I got off a pretty good volley of explosions, of bombs, pods, whatever they're called, rockets. Yeah, you get plenty of shots off before you actually have to reload or get ammo again. So that was one version of it, and that would be the version that you would get if you don't have like the cutie stuff. The cutie stuff I like better. Turns out that the cutie just does a lot more damage. When people were originally building the Zarr, having galvanized chamber was like, or any form of multi-shot was like, you had to have it. With the cutie, you don't have that option. So I have, again, we got the BAME nod. I swapped out the 6060 ice, or the cold mod, for the prime cryo rounds. We kept hunter munitions. I put galvanized aptitude just for the status. Again, we have semi-rifle cannonade. We have, again, the magnetic capacity, critical delay, and primary acuity. So the benefit of using primary acuity, besides the benefits that it has, is you'll be proccing primary crux at the same time. So you're kind of just feeding off of each other. And this is what this build is like. Again, we're going to start off with the shotgun mode. So we got that. And we're going to switch to cannon. So where we go, we got the spam going again. We got our ammo coming back. We can just spam it again. There will be times where like I'll just reload one shell and I can just spam that like near infinitely. I'll just get a good little run there. Now keep in mind, I'm not using anything to increase the potency of this weapon. This is just a weapon performing for itself as itself, a standalone, and it's doing pretty good. Now this is the final version of the acuity that I built. This one is the one that I like the most currently, and then we're gonna switch to. So what separates this acuity build from this acuity build is I took out galvanized aptitude, and instead I replaced it. All the status chance that galvanized aptitude would normally supply is coming from primary crux, where status chance, it basically takes the place of your galvanized mod. And in replacement for that, I put in Vital Sense. Now, why did I put in Vital Sense? Vital Sense is because you don't have to aim at anything. This is the only critical damage mod where it doesn't matter where you hit, you'll just have that flat 120% critical damage. What else did I change? That's pretty much everything. That's literally the only change. And this is how it performs. Currently, this is my preferred version of it. Hopefully I'm not hyping this up too well and it ends up petering out mid-performance. So we're getting a lot more red crits. And so now that we have it fully built up, we're just going to switch it over and let it rip. Hopefully I don't end up missing all the headshots. But as you can see, I did end up killing a few there. And if I had my Panther Volpophyla, these would all be dead. So this is just another way to do that. It is doing work. You see the difference? But that's what I've got so far for this. If you want to check out the build again, that way people can see it and then it will be nerfed again. Good work. And this also gives you a solid build approach for any other primary weapons with small magazines. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you ever need to keep ammo, this are the way to do it.